Hi everyone, so today I thought I would try and achieve the impossible and go through all of my makeup in one video. I don't know whether this is going to turn out to be a hey, this is what is in my current stash kind of video and just show you everything, or whether I'm actually going to be able to declutter anything. We will see. I'm making no promises just yet because I haven't even taken it all out. The plan is, I think I'm just going to put it out all on the bed and then we'll assess how bad the situation is, because it's been a long time since I've gone through all of my makeup and done any kind of attempt at decluttering. So that's the plan for today. Okay, I can't quite decide if this is good or bad. I've not included any samples in what I've got here, although to be fair there could be some buried, but I've tried to avoid samples. There are no primers in here either, because I kind of class primer as more of a skincare thing, and there are no brushes or applicators, so this is just purely what is kind of scattered around where I usually put makeup on. Are you ready to see it? What do we think? Is this bad? Is this average? I don't think it's as bad as it could be, because I have got rid of stuff before, but I'm already seeing stuff that I'm pretty sure can go. I keep most of it in a big drawer like I do with most of my drawers of shame, and then the stuff that I wear on the daily is usually just up on my dressing table. I think I need to categorise things, so I'll be back to you in a second once I've sorted stuff into piles. Okay, so I've managed to categorise things. That took a bit longer than I was expecting, and this right here is what you would call a foundation mountain. Yes. Clearly, there's way too much here for me to go through everything in detail, but as I'm going through things, if you see something that you'd like to see me use, or want to see a bit more about it, or test, or whatever, then just let me know in the comments and I will certainly do that. It's no problem at all. So what would be the logical order to start in? I kind of feel like I can't ignore the foundation mountain, because I am known for my foundation videos, I guess. When you've had a couple of your foundation videos go kind of semi-viral, I suppose that's fair enough to say, really. Some of these you'll recognise as foundations that I'm currently using or have used, but there will be lots in here that haven't even seen the light of day yet. In that category, we've got these two from Liz Earle. We've got the Shear Skin Tint Bronzing Fluid, which clearly it's not the right time of year to crack this out. I'm looking forward to trying it when it's a bit more sort of spring, summertime, and maybe my skin's behaving itself and I can actually just get away with this on its own, maybe. So looking forward to giving that one a go at some point. I do have like the regular version, so this is just the regular Sheer Skin Tint SPF 15 in the colour Beige. So it's looking a bit beaten, but I've not actually used this yet, so if you'd like to see me give this one a go, then let me know. In terms of stuff you will have already seen, obviously I've got the two ordinary foundations here, which are the foundation videos of mine that did actually go pretty viral, because when I first uploaded the review of, I think it was the Serum foundation that came first, there was only one other review on YouTube, and that was by the god that is Wayne Goss. So I think I'm on about 80,000 views for that video now, which is just insane and very exciting. And it's possible that if you're watching this video right now, you may well have found me through watching the ordinary foundation videos. So thank you very much. In terms of the actual foundation itself, I just don't reach for these, but they are really nice. So maybe I should give them another shot at some point, because it has been a while, and then ultimately make up my mind about them, because they are really nice foundations. They just need careful treatment because of oily skin, so I will put those to one side. This foundation here, as you can see, is L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover in the colour 10 Porcelain. I don't like this foundation, and the only reason why I keep it is to use in my swatch videos. So I would normally have decluttered this, but that's the only reason why I keep it, because it's in a colour that I don't often wear, but it does help for swatch purposes. So that one will be staying. I've got a little collection here of L'Oreal Infallible Matte, which was my go-to foundation. I love it. What it would be like mixed with Lancome's Teint Idole, I'm not sure whether that would make it slightly more forgiving. It's extremely long wearing. It's a fantastic foundation if you've got oily skin, but if you do have any kind of dryness, it will accentuate that, and that's the one part of this foundation that I don't really like. But if it wasn't for the fact that I was wearing the Lancome Teint Idole pretty much on the daily, yep, I am wearing it on the daily at the moment, then I would be reaching for this, because until I found Lancome's Teint Idole, this was my holy grail. Even though it wasn't perfect, it was as close as things got. So I do actually really like this foundation. It can just be really, really drying, unfortunately. In terms of what else you would have seen, I've also done a review of the very famous Dermacol makeup cover. I've got two different shades here. This one, which is 208, is definitely too light for me. This one is 210 and it's a much better match for me. It's just one of these foundations that I don't tend to put on the whole of my face, just purely because it can be quite oily. I think if you are prone to acne or anything, it can make it worse, because it is really kind of choking the skin, really. It's not really intended for daily use, although I know a lot of people do. It mixes with things really well, so if you want different kinds of coverage, like something a bit sheerer, then it can be a really good foundation. But again, the main reason why I keep this is if I'm having a particularly bad skin day and I'm feeling paranoid enough that I want makeup on when I go out on my bike, then I'll reach for this. Otherwise, it just gets used for swatches. Right, I'm going to have to start picking up a gear, I think, otherwise we're never going to get through this. So next, I've got a cosmetic CC cream, which I do really like. It makes my skin look gorgeous. It's got a high SPF. I do really love it. It's just better for kind of the summertime when I want to wear something really minimal, because on me, it doesn't actually give a huge amount of coverage, but it does make me go quite kind of oily. So I do have to be quite careful with what time of year I wear it. But when the sun actually decides to show itself, I really like reaching for this one. Likewise, I don't think I've shown these on the channel before, other than maybe in decluttering videos. I can't remember. These are the Dr. Jart Bb Creams. I've got the Regenerating and Platinum. They're really nice, just for a very light layer of coverage with a pretty decent SPF of 30. And it's more kind of skincare than it is makeup. It just happens to do a fairly decent amount of coverage. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. So those are quite handy for in the warmer months as well. This one you will have seen me talk about in, I think it was a full face of first impressions video, and I very nearly bought the full size of this. It's the Tarte BB Tinted Treatment. It's actually a primer, but the coverage is outstanding for a primer. It's actually really good. I do really like this, but it can, again, have that tendency to be a little bit drying, but I'm kind of curious now that I've got some different moisturisers with a few of these foundations. I think I'd quite like to try that one again. So I'm still using this kind of deluxe sample size. This is in the shade Light, which is definitely not light. But yeah, I think I will give this one a go again at some point. Oh my goodness. I've done a review of this. I did not like it. I don't even use it for swatch purposes. So this one I can actually declutter. It's the Revlon Colorstay Compact. So you've got like a creamy foundation, a creamy concealer. Did not like it. So yeah, that one can actually go. Yay, I've got rid of something. In terms of what's left, oh no, I was going to say I've not actually done anything with them, but no, this one I've also done a review on. This is the very popular Revlon Colorstay in 150 Buff, which is a little bit too light for me really, so I mainly use this for swatches, although I did try it mixed in with a primer, I think it was a few months ago, and I did actually quite like it. Not like it enough to kind of use it on the daily because it is too light for me, but mainly I use this for swatches. Right, now I think we're down to foundations that you won't have seen on the channel before because these have just been stashed away waiting to be tested. So I've got another couple of BB creams, and I feel like these are quite famous on YouTube as well. It's the Mousse, I think that's how you pronounce it, Perfect Cover BB Cream, and I've got number 21 and 23. So no idea what it's like, but I've heard really good things about it. So again, because it's a BB cream, I might save that one to test once it's warmed up a little bit. Then I've got the Collection Lasting Perfection Foundation. I've also got the Lasting Perfection Concealer in 2 different colours as well. But this one, not tried it yet. What shade did I get? Oh, I got number 3, Cool Beige. So I will be doing a review on this one at some point because I do feel like it gets a lot of love. And considering how cheap it is, it's in a really nice frosted glass bottle. So quite excited to try that one at some point. I've got Pure's Bare It All Foundation, which I know was a sensation in the beauty community. Oh gosh, it was probably about a year ago now or something. It was the same time that their foundation paddle brush came out, which I also actually have. Still not got around to trying this one. It's supposed to be a 12-hour 4-in-1 skin perfecting foundation, and I got the shade Light. So yeah, I will try that at some point. There are so many that I am really looking forward to trying, but I just never get around to testing them because usually something else comes up and it just kind of takes over. Next, I've got this actually quite grubby looking somehow thing of Jouer Matte Moisture Tint Sunscreen, but it's only got an SPF of 15. It's oil free, and I got this in the shade Linen. I think I picked this up really cheap from eBay because someone bought the wrong colour. And yeah, this has not been used at all yet. I did some research into this and I heard that it was really nice, and I've not tried anything from Jouer before, so really looking forward to giving this one a go. You can tell that there's a bit of a running theme with me saying that now, can't you? But other beauty bloggers have talked about it and said that it's really nice. Then we've got a Tarte Foundation here. This I picked up in their last buy so many things for £50 or whatever it was, and you save a fortune. This is their Empowered Hybrid Gel Foundation, and I got it in Fair Beige because this is really hard to find swatch pictures of, really hard, and I think I've gone too pale, which I'm a bit gutted about. I will try this at some point, but I'm already feeling a bit nervous that it's actually too pale and I should have gone darker. But the problem is the swatches were useless. So, I do hear mixed things about this one, but it was part of that deal and none of the other foundations really grabbed me. So, yeah, that one will be tried at some point. I did include this sample because I've heard that this is supposed to be really nice, and I've still not tried it yet. I think I got this from Furionique's Pick and Mix service. This is a Givenchy Matisme, is that how that's pronounced? We're going to go with that. Velvet. And I got it in Matte Beige, number 4. So I will try that at some point. And you never know, that could be fabulous. Okay, so that's all the foundations. I guess we may as well sweep over to these powders, although we've actually got a couple of powder foundations here as well, so we'll just quickly cover these. This is Tarte, the Confidence Creamy Powder Foundation. I always get a bit nervous about powder foundation, but I think I picked this up when they also had one of their so many products for so much. This one's in light beige. The other foundation of theirs I got in fair beige, so this is probably going to be a bit of a better match for me. I have not cracked this one out yet, not tried it. I know, I'm actually terrible. I'm addicted to makeup, but then I never actually put it on my face. Not the new stuff anyway. And then I've also got, and this is actually really old, this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Airbrush Foundation, also in light beige. Was that light beige as well? Yes, it was. I really have lots of foundations to try. It's crazy. In terms of other powders I've done a review of this one. This is another powder foundation. This is the Becca, what was it called again? Perfect Skin Mineral Powder, which I didn't actually like, so I'm not quite sure why I've still got this. I love the packaging though. The packaging is so cool. That's no reason to keep it. Maybe I should try that just on lightly on top of foundation and just see what it does, because it is actually quite nice. But if you use it on its own and you've got a lot to cover, it can go very glowy. So maybe a light hand on top of something else might be the answer. This I do not like. I got it in a pack, I think, from It Cosmetics, and it's not a very good powder at all. Yeah, it's just in translucent. But yeah, did not rate that pressed powder at all. You guys probably know my feelings on Coty Airspun, although I've not actually used this in a really long time. I'm having a bit of a rest from it. So I do love it. I think it's an amazing face powder. Really good for mattifying things, but not in a kind of crispy, unhealthy way. So yeah, I do like it, and you get a ton, but I've not used this in ages. I've just not reached for it. This I got in one of my beauty advent calendars. I used it once and it was way too drying. I've got to the age of my life now where I can't really get away with a lot of powder under my eyes, and I'm not sure where else I could really get away with using something quite so yellow. So this is going to have to be rehomed because there's no way I'm actually going to be able to use that. I don't think I've used this, you know. I must have picked this up on 3 for 2 thinking it might be worth trying, but I didn't actually use it. This is L'Oreal Infallible Matte, but the powder, and this is in Sand Beige. I should put this to one side and try it at some point, shouldn't I? Has anyone else used this? Is it actually any good? Because I do quite like the foundation, but we know that the foundation can be quite drying. Maybe I should try this on top of something else. And then finally, powder-wise, we've got the beloved Nars Translucent Crystal setting powder, which you only get 10 grams of, which when you compare it to Coty Airspun and Coty Airspun's 65 grams, that's a big difference. But this powder's beautiful. You really don't need very much, and it just mattifies things beautifully and leaves almost quite a sparkle iridescence on the skin, but it's really subtle, and I've actually been using this a lot more recently with Lancome's Tinted just to try and keep the shininess at bay for as long as possible. So I have actually been using this a lot more recently because it's just a bit lighter and not quite so heavy duty as this one. Blimey. Okay, I've only talked about face stuff and we've got all of the rest of this to go, which is just ridiculous. Should we do concealers next? Would that be logical? And then maybe I can cover the other stuff another time. You're getting a bit of a glimpse of it. I mean, look at all this lip stuff here. I had no idea I had so much lip stuff. That's insane. Because I tend to stick to wearing the same things. That's all mascaras. And I know I've still not used Lash Paradise. I really must. But then I feel bad because I've got quite a few mascaras actually on the go at the moment. That's all eyeshadowy stuff. Blush, palettes, eyeliners, brow stuff, random, that shouldn't be in there. Highlights. I know that doesn't look like I've got a lot, but then there's highlights in there and in that palette at the bottom, and concealer. So shall we maybe have a look at concealer, and then, yeah, we're going to have to tackle the other stuff in another video, I think, aren't we? Because we're just going to be here for forever otherwise. Right. We've got some real famous concealers in here. You can tell that I get caught up by beauty blogging stuff. I mentioned the Collection Lasting Perfection Foundation. Those are the two concealers that I've got, which I was very excited about when I got them, but I hardly ever reach for them. I don't think I've actually shown myself using them on the channel, I don't think. But I've got the shades number 1 and 2, which is fair and cool medium. Yeah, I just... Ugh. Maybe I could do a video incorporating the foundation and the concealer. Maybe that would be the right thing to do. Then I have got... Oh, this I can definitely get rid of. This is just one of these random purchases from Superdrug where you see something and you think, ooh, that's interesting, and then it turns out to be rubbish. It's supposed to be this BB Under Eye Cream 5-in-1, and I got it in the shade Light. There's an absolute ton left in here because I've hardly used it. I've used it a few times. There's 15ml in here, so it's quite generous, but it does nothing to your dark circle area. It's got this funny applicator that's like a brush, and it's just really, really lightweight, doesn't really do anything. If you didn't have too much going on in the under eye area, this might be worth using, but I just did not rate it. It's not worth it. So that is going to go. Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. I do really like this concealer, not so much for the under eye area because it's too drying, but on individual spots it's nice. And then we've got the Nars Soft Matte Concealer, I think is what that one's called. Oh, both of these are in light vanilla, by the way. I've done a review on this one actually, and I do really like it. It's much more forgiving on the under eye area, but I've just not been reaching for it, so maybe I need to put this one back on rotation and just see what I make of it, because it has been given a rest for a while. Because as you can see, there's an absolute ton of product in there, but it's not actually too drying, and it's nice on spots as well. It's quite a good all-rounder. I'd probably go as far as saying I prefer this one to the Radiant Creamy Concealer. Bit of a classic here, Clarins Instant Concealer. I think this was Lisa Eldridge made me buy it purchase when she was talking about concealers when I first got into watching beauty YouTube videos. This is in the shade number 1. It's a really good concealer. You get an absolute ton of it and it's not ridiculously expensive. I don't tend to reach for it though, and yeah, I used to use it an absolute ton, but like I said, it was right at the beginning of me kind of really getting into beauty and makeup stuff. So I tend to just keep this for comparison videos or swatches, but I don't think there's a huge amount left in there now anyway, so I wouldn't actually pick this one up again. I've got 2 things of It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, which is the only concealer I can really get away with wearing under the eyes because it's not drying, and used lightly it can actually help a situation if you're looking particularly dark. I've got 2 shades. I've got Light, which is actually a bit too light. It has been used a ton, but then this is the one that I've had the longest. And then I've got Light Medium, which is actually much better for me. I actually really like this concealer, particularly for under the eyes, and it lasts for such a long time because you need literally the tiniest amount. So if you've got kind of maturing eye bag areas, then this is a nice one. This I haven't used that much at all, and I did a ton of research into it. So this is the NYX Dark Circle Concealer. You can see there's a bit of a theme here of me trying to get rid of my mum eye bags. This is in the shade Light Stroke Pale, and it's one of these ones that actually looks quite dark because it's supposed to counteract the darkness that's going on under your eyes, but I have used it. I just don't remember it being fabulous. I think it's quite greasy if I remember rightly. Maybe it'd be better to use that first and then put something on top, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I just really want to simplify my makeup, so I'll give it another go at some point, but I'm less convinced by this one. Right. This one is Benefit's Fake Up. I've used this a ton. There's still a little bit left. Oh no, there's actually quite a lot left actually, isn't there? It's one of these weirdy concealers where there's like a kind of lip balmy bit and then a coverage bit. Doesn't give you a huge amount of coverage, but again, because it's kind of a little bit greasy, it's good for the under eye area if you're a little bit aged and haggard like I am. So I do like using this. I've used it on its own. I've used it underneath things. I do like it. Not sure I'd pick it up again though. It's not quite special enough. And this is in the shade Light. So that's the lightest one that they do. And then we've got 2 very famous concealers here. This one has just been a sensation from the moment it launched. This is the very famous Tarte Shape Tape, which I have done a review video of. I do not like it. I've spoken about it a few times. It's way too drying. It's good for on specific spots, but under the eye area it's a disaster for me. It's too drying, too crepey. Even on some spots, to be fair, unless it's a very specific kind of spot, which doesn't often happen, as in not too textured, it can just look very cakey and horrible. So I tend to use this if I'm doing a very specific eye look and I just want to blank out the colour on my eyelids. I don't tend to do that very often, but it does come in very handy for that. Then next to it, we've got what is supposed to be its dupe. This is the Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. So again, they've come out with a load of shades of this, because with both of them, you're supposed to be able to slap it on wherever around your face, and not just use it for concealing, but also use it for contouring as well. I much prefer this concealer. It's much more forgiving. I don't think it's the same thing though. I don't think these can be compared at all. The textures are totally different. The finish, I think, is totally different. The only way that they're similar is, I suppose the packaging is kind of similar, and then you get the doe foot applicator is one of those really big doe foot applicators. So that's about as far as the similarity goes. But I will be keeping hold of most of these concealers, I think, because if I don't use them for swatches, then I need to retry them again just to see what I think of them. I think the Radiant Creamy Concealer is nearly finished anyway. So there, we've still got all the rest of that to go through. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how successful that session was. I did manage to declutter a few things, so that was absolutely fantastic. And I've just refreshed my memory on a couple of products that I do actually want to try again, particularly as I've got some different moisturisers that might be a little bit more compatible, because I think particularly with foundation and concealer, it can be a case of actually finding a really good moisturiser that's compatible with it, rather than just kind of thinking it's going to be a big waste of time. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. It was totally random. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to pan out because I hadn't gone through my stash already. I literally just kind of chucked it out and then went, oh, there's a lot here. So I think it was a bit ambitious to cover everything in one go, but I will be going through the other piles in other videos. I'll probably group the eye stuff together, although that's probably going to be quite a lot, isn't it? I don't know. We will see. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any of that stuff that I spoke about that you are particularly excited about seeing me use, particularly in terms of the foundation stuff. If there's something there that you want to see me review, test out, whatever, let me know. But I think that will do it for today. I hope you're all really, really well, and I will see you again soon. Bye!